Thank you very much, Lynn, to our banking partners, Westpac, for their support of the CEDA lunch, and to CEDA for the opportunity to talk to you again about Tasmania today. Can I first also acknowledge the Muhunina people as the original owners and custodians of this land and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And Tasmania today, it's a great subject to talk about. It's a Tasmania that does have the fastest pace of economic growth and is the best performing state, where business conditions rank the highest in the nation, business confidence the strongest of any state, and consumer confidence is higher than all other states. Export growth has skyrocketed 3 times the national rate, and Tasmania's financial management is extremely strong. It's not me who has said these things. It's Deloitte, ANZ, CommSec, Census, Standard & Poor's and the Australian Bureau of Statistics. And I know that Westpac would equally have nice things to say about us, but I did not want to embarrass you. But that is the state of the state. There's certainly a buzz about this place, and Tasmanians are feeling much more optimistic about our future. And it shows that there is absolutely no reason at all why Tasmania cannot be our country's strongest performing economy, why we can't be the very best in what we do. But it's certainly not as good as it gets, and there is a lot more to be done. And it's certainly not the time, in my view, for us to become complacent or to put the brakes on, because our aim is to ensure that all Tasmanians are feeling the benefits of a strong economy and the prosperous state that we are now living in. That's our mission. And there are many Tasmanians who are still not. So we must continue to grow, because a strong economy and economic growth is key to Tasmanians enjoying a better quality of life. And that's why growing our economy has been a centrepiece of my government's agenda since being elected just 4.5 years ago, which a majority Liberal government was re-elected to continue to deliver just 265 days ago in a second term. And our economy isn't just growing, as Lynn says, it's growing at the fastest rate in a decade. It was just 5 or 6 years ago that our economy was actually in recession. Since then it's grown at around 9%. There's been growth, strong growth in household consumption, growth in retail trade for 47 consecutive months, growth in our population, growth in investment at over 17%, growth in investment in machinery and equipment of over 49%, as local businesses are gearing up for continued growth. Investment is leading the nation. We're the only state to have growth in housing approvals, 10 times the national rate, the highest growth in private new capital expenditure in the country, the highest growth in exports, continue to outstrip the nation, 3 times the rate, and the highest over a decade, the highest growth in international visitors, the highest number on record, and the most Tasmanians now employed. And since we came into government in 2014, over 15,000 more Tasmanians have work. Tasmania has truly gone from economic laggard to leader, and it hasn't happened by luck. It's certainly growth that's fuelled by a buoyant, enterprising Tasmanian business sector that are confidently investing in developing and employing. My government has played its part by creating a more attractive business and investment environment and improving business conditions. And it's not me that's saying it. It's the Census Business Survey Index that has Tasmania as the highest ranking business conditions in the country, the highest on record, and support for our policies is high. And we're delivering on what we promised, the plan that we took to those elections. We've fixed the budget as we said we would. We have budget surpluses that were once in deficit. We have surpluses, and in fact, the only state in the country now net debt free. Just this week, Standard & Poor's have confirmed our strong financial management and a very strong budget position. And this is important because it allows us to invest more into our health system, into education, into infrastructure, into the services that Tasmanians need, as we are doing. It's important to further enhance business confidence, which typically comes with a strong state budget position. And it highlights the importance of us continuing to deliver strong and disciplined financial management to ensure we keep our budget in such strong position, and that includes keeping public sector growth in wages and other expenditure under control, which we are doing. We've taken action to reduce some of the impediments to business development, to reduce business costs, for example. We've lowered payroll tax so that Tasmania now has the most competitive payroll tax regime in the country for small to medium businesses. We've capped power prices to protect Tasmanian businesses from the sort of shocks and volatility that we've seen from the national electricity grid affecting other states, and massive price hikes that have followed there. We're getting more Tasmanians government business work. We've pump-primed our important building and construction sector by providing incentives for people to buy or build a home. This is fueling rapid growth in that great sector and creating many building jobs. We've partnered with local government, with the University of Tasmania, with the community sector, and other key partners to bring forward investments and initiatives that give people opportunities for work, but also fuel local economies and stimulate regional development, and to build on our important economic foundations, but also our social infrastructure. And we are investing massively into infrastructure across the state. And this is into schools and into hospitals, into housing, into road, into rail. And this will improve the livability and the productivity of our state, but it will also in itself generate more economic activity and jobs for the coming decades. So we have developed that 10-year infrastructure pipeline, which maps out a planned infrastructure program for governments of all levels and the private sector to understand what lies ahead of us and to map out what will be around a $14 billion investment in infrastructure over the decade ahead. And it will provide that guide to the jobs that we also need and deliver the infrastructure that our growing state needs. And as I've said many times before, there's no bigger infrastructure opportunity for our state than in renewable energy. It's one of our great competitive advantages, and our vision is for Tasmania to become the nation's renewable energy battery. We are committed to securing our energy supply, to keeping our energy prices down, but also being able to insert and inject our precious renewable energy into that unstable national grid and to increase our revenue base. So we're building new wind farms, we are progressing developments around pumped hydro schemes, and we are building the case for a second interconnector as critical national infrastructure. And this plan in itself will also deliver billions of dollars of investment for our state and create hundreds of jobs over the next 10 to 15 years in a state that will be, by 2022, totally 100% renewable energy. And our brand is another one of our great competitive advantages that we're investing more in. It's one of our most precious assets, and it's something that has become increasingly the interest not only of people from afar, but also Tasmanians who are feeling more confident and optimistic about who we are as a state and what we offer. We know from research that our brand is very strong. But we know also that it can be strengthened, it can be protected, nurtured to fully realise this great asset. And that needs to happen through a better collaboration between government, non-government sectors, brand leaders and our community more broadly. And last night we passed through our House of Assembly legislation which will establish a new statutory authority to lead that work. The work that's been done excellently by the Brand Council for a couple of decades will now, through this new authority, have the capacity and the capabilities through additional resources and a more collaborative effort to amp up our brand, to make sure we continue to stand out from the pack and be very competitive in a global market, so that we do attract more investment, more students, more tourists, and ensure that we're able to export our fine products into the world and secure more talent here in our state. There's no doubt that the interest in our place, our products and our people has never been better than now. So now is the time to realise the full potential of that brand. We're certainly not waiting, as our tourism people say, to be discovered. We're now taking Tasmania very proudly to the world. Now's the time to seize that opportunity. And if we don't, and if we become complacent, then our competitors will get ahead of us, as they will in every regard, where Tasmania is now seen as a place of opportunity. If we actually start sending a message that we want to turn the lights off or pull back the welcome mat and turn away any investment, well, that will happen. If we're constantly changing the goalposts or interfering with good process, it will damage the confidence that investors have, that business have, to be part of our economic landscape and our community. And if we say to developers, as I've said before, that if we get you to jump over all the hurdles that government's put before you and to have you pass all those tests that our independent regulators, environmental regulators and planning tests that are thrown up before you, if you pass all those things, then you should get that social licence. You should have the support, and I think you would have the support of the broader community. You'll certainly have the support of my government if you pass those tests, because we believe in providing that certainty for investors and our business community so that they have the confidence to do what they best and get on with employing more Tasmanians and building our state. I also firmly believe, though, that we must protect all that's special and precious about our state, our beautiful island home that we all care so deeply for. The world's eyes have certainly turned to us, but we do need to strike the right balance between driving that growth but also preserving what is special about Tasmania, what makes us so remarkable, and that is the quality of life. We must find those ways that Tasmanians are feeling the benefits of our strong economic growth, make sure that no one feels left behind. We have to unlock the potential, the full potential of our regional communities and ensure that economic growth is spread right across our state. We have to ensure that Tasmanians are well educated, and it is a centrepiece of my government's agenda. It is the most important investment any government can make, and we need to collaborate with the university and other educational institutions to expand the capabilities in our schools and to invest in them to ensure that every Tasmanian, particularly those young Tasmanians, have the opportunity to get that very best education and be their very best in life and to give them their best shot in life. We also need to make sure that we are providing the right services that can effectively make Tasmanians feel more a part of that strong economic growth that is now established and sustained and predicted to continue if we keep managing our economy and our budget and our business conditions well. So we have to continue to provide more services. We need more revenues as a state to invest into our schools and hospitals, into our police service, into our infrastructure. And we can't do that without a growing economy. But equally, as our state feels such rapid levels of growth and is expanding, it's the time now, in my view, to look beyond the horizon and to consider what our state needs for the decades ahead of us, and to develop what you might call an inclusive growth strategy so that all Tasmanians can feel part and be part of the growth in our economy. The best way, in my view, for that to occur is by us all working together. My government has, I'm told, well over 100 policies and plans and strategies right across government that we took to the election, that we're delivering and that are delivering results. And we'll continue as a government to lead and to demonstrate that we believe in our state, we're confident about its future, and we're right behind those who want to be part of it and to invest in it. But we want to make sure that all our plans and all our policies and strategies are working as best as they can, and I've often said that no government has all the right answers or all the best ideas. But there's never been a better time than now for government to come together with non-government institutions and other community leaders to build that inclusive growth strategy. There's never been a better time to bring our community and all its leaders together to deliver on that vision. And that's precisely what we are going to do. Thank you.